So, as always in this course, you have two ways to solve these problems. Well, we're going to talk about the calculator first. So, if you have a z-test and there's no data given, you're going to go to Stats, arrow over to Test, and choose z-test. It's the first one at the top. So, the next screen is going to show the following information. So, for your input, you're going to choose Stats and hit Enter. The mean with the little small zero is the population mean. Again, that's the mean you have in your hypotheses. Your sigma is your population standard deviation. Your x bar is your sample mean. Your n is your sample size. And then the mean by itself at the bottom is you choose the alternative hypothesis. So it's very, very important that you choose the right hypotheses that you want to look at. If not, this will mess up your results in the calculator. The output screen is going to give you, the first line is the alternative hypotheses, so that's another way to check yourself. The Z is the z-test statistic, the P is the p-value, the x bar is the sample mean, and n is the sample size. If you have sample data, the first thing you need to do is go to Stats, Edit, and enter your data into L1. Make sure that your data is in L1 before you start. So the next thing you're going to do after the data is entered, you're going to go to Stats, Test, and go over to z-test. The next screen will show you the following information. So for input, you're going to click on Data and hit Enter so it's flashing at you because you're calling from the data. And that's going to change your screen. So the mean with the little zero is the population mean. Again, that's the mean in the hypothesis. Your sigma is your population standard deviation. Your list is L1. So you put your data in L1, now it's calling back to L1. The frequency is 1. The M again is choose that alternative hypothesis. Scroll to calculate, and it's going to give you a new screen with the output. Again, for the output, the first line is the alternative hypothesis. The Z is the z-test statistic. The P is the p-value. The x bar is the sample mean, and the n is the sample size. So for social stats, for the website, you're going to go to www.socialscistatistics.com. So you're going to go to calculators and z-test calculator for a single sample. The z-test, if no data is given, you're going to enter the following data. First is your population mean. And the next one is the population variance. That's different from the standard deviation that you're given, the population standard deviation. So all you need to do is take that population standard deviation and square it. Then you have the sample mean, and then you have the sample size. Then you're going to choose a one-tailed or two-tailed hypothesis. If your alternative hypothesis is less than or greater than, then pick a one-tailed. If your alternative hypothesis is not equals, pick the two-tailed. And then you'll be given the test statistic and the p-value. If you have data, then you go to Calculators, Z-test, Calculator for a single sample. Click the box that says yes, calculate sample means from the raw data. And then what you're going to do, enter the sample data in the empty box on the right. Make sure the list is going down and not across. So then you're going to enter the population mean again, and then you're going to have to enter the population variance. Remember, you need to square root the population standard deviation to get this value. Choose one-tailed or two-tailed. Again, if you have a less than or a greater in your alternative, it's a one-tailed. If your alternative hypothesis is not equals, pick the two-tailed. You'll be given a z-test statistic and a p-value. So what matters in both of these things, it's the calculator and the website giving you the z-test statistic and the p-value. That is what is really important for us to make decisions.